Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, War Rabbit, and today we're going to be talking about the Tau lists that came out of the World Championship of Warhammer, and generally discussing what I think is good for the Tau Empire and the Tau metagame. I will not be discussing the list from this weekend from the World Championships of Warhammer, because as you can see, the vast majority of people have probably already talked about the winning lists, and Tau, the first Tau is 32nd place to Durante, Bazzini, or Glenessier. I don't know how to pronounce that. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry about that. And we'll be talking about his list. But yeah, Richard Siegler, obviously, he won the World Championship. I'm pretty sure he's a two-time winner, and I think both times he won it with AdMech. So he's a reigning champion, from my understanding. And yeah, AdMech is really good right now. I think this specific type of list has been gone over a lot. I've seen a lot of people do it, so I'm not going to go over it. And I've seen a lot of people go over the top 8. So we're just going to go over the Tau in general here this weekend, because if you look at the weekly win result, which was kind of more, I think, in my opinion, more indicative of what was going to be coming forward, especially after the changes to stealth suits. So the problem here is that Tau Stealthsuits just got a major change, which is very unfortunate for the faction because they were key to pretty much every single list. You'd either take 2 units or some lists would take 3 units. And like of the trinity, the what I think of like the best Tau units that were required in pretty much every list, unless you're doing specifically like Kroot Hunting Pack, which changes some things, but like your standard Tau list that's not Ret Cadre or Kroot Hunting Pack is Stealth Suits, Riptides, and Pathfinders. Those 3 units you basically are taking almost in triplicate, or at least they're going to be in every single list, and they're a core part of every list. Mainly because one, the Riptide is our highest consistent damage dealer. Stealth Suit's the best spotting, and Pathfinders are our best forward deploy and spotting unit that also can do quite a bit of work. And unfortunately, the stealth battle suit got nerfed pretty hard. So currently, before the kill team was released, stealth teams were 80 points for 3, and you would be, it's cheap, it's cheaper than Shadow Sun. Now they're 110 for 5. Pretty much everything's the same except for some minor changes, which are generalized nerfs. Obviously, the point increase was massive. It was a massive nerf to the stealth teams. Especially because the 6-man used to be 120, so they're just not pointed the same, so they're actually more expensive per model. They have grenades, which previously they didn't, which is okay. Unfortunately, they have built-in marker light, right? And they can't take a shield drone anymore, which is unfortunate because you would get your Shazray to have 3 wounds, so you'd have 3 and then 5, and now you can't do it anymore. And then 6-man teams would generally be able to have, I believe, 4 drones. I could be wrong on that, but you used to have 4 drones, and it might have been a 9th edition thing where you could take 4 drones if you took a 6-man. But I'm pretty sure you could take 4. Might only be 2. But yeah, that shield drone is really impactful because it gives you more. Obviously, as the locked into 5-man, you're now more affected by blast. You still have stealth, which is good. You lost the fallback and shoot from your from the, I think it's the battle suit support system, or is the weapon support system. I forget which one it is, but it's an ability that you, from our armor, that you put on the little back here of the model, and it's like target lock as it was in previous editions. But in contrast, you have the pulse pistol, and the pulse pistol gives you the pistol keyword, so you can shoot in combat, so you can still spot in combat, and you can't just fall back and spot in combat, which is unfortunate because normally, excuse me, normally the Tau don't want to be in combat, and you want to leave combat as soon as possible. With the pulse pistol, you have to stay in combat to spot. So that means if you lose the Shazray, first of all, if you take him off by accident, you automatically lose, right? And you think, well, the marker drone lets you advance and spot. Well, so does the gun drone, because the gun drone has assault. So you're always able to spot while advancing, and the marker drone's kind of redundant because they have the marker light keyword, right? It's just, and I think the box comes with a shield drone, so it's very unfortunate you couldn't pick a shield drone. The pulse pistol is obviously just a flat nerf. Fall back and shoot's better than shoot in combat, unfortunately. Just the way it is. I guess they're more durable because you get 10 wounds. They aren't -1 to hit, right? They're just stealth, so they're -1 to hit in shooting. They're not generalized -1 to hit, which they never were, but in 9th edition they were. Excuse me, I keep yawning. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's just a generalized nerf. You're gonna see in the lists I'm gonna be showing from the World Championship is that a lot of the lists just went up by like 60 to 90 points because now that 110, so at 110 points, 2 units of stealth suits are 220 points instead of 160. So that's a 50-point increase. I think if you take all three, I believe 3 units of Pathfinders and a Firesight Marksman is cheaper than 3 stealth teams. And that is a massive amount of spotting potential that you just lost. And it's unfortunate because stealth teams are cool and the new models are cool. They have grenades, but they don't have the look. I'm pretty sure they have a mine, and I'm guessing that's just the grenade keyword for them. But the new like Wolf Scouts have like basically the Kasserkin mine, the melt bomb that they can throw once a game, which kind of sucks because I would have liked to have seen it. But everything else is the same from them. No weapons changes, so they're still, you get 12 burst cannon, strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. That's okay. Ret Cadre, they could be interesting to have a forward infiltrate and take 3 units of them and just have them infiltrate 12, walk, and they can kind of just move into the extra AP at 6 inches. You probably don't want to do that, but it's something you can do with you could always do realistically. But now that there's 5 of them, you might actually have some more shooting in that regards. So we're going to be moving over to the World Champions of Warhammer. We're going to be looking at 81st place. 81st. 81st. Is that how you say it? That doesn't sound right. For this will be the lowest Tau ranking that I went. I've tried to do top 100 and I found 4 lists. So I'm taking them. This is going to be Tau Empire, Danielle or Daniel, the Gemini. Oh my gosh, that looks like Danielle. Okay, I'm saying that one. We're gonna call him the Gemini, or if it's a woman, I'm not too sure. So let's go into here. I was just scrolling through it real quick. So it is a Ret Cadre list, which is fun. Ret Cadre did a lot. Has gotten a new lease on life now that you have cheaper crisis suits, so you just have more units. The main thing is that obviously with the nerfing of stealth teams, you've lost, as although the crisis suits went down, you'd normally take 2 units of stealth teams. Well, if your list went down 50 points because your crisis suits went down, it went up 50 points because the stealth teams came in. So Farsight, obviously, he's going to be your standard man, a Ret Cadre. You're going to either throw him in a Starsight team or you're going to throw him in a Sunforge team, so you get that extra damage. He's the way you're going to be killing heavy vehicles in this list if you're not taking hammerheads, but you are normally going to take Riptides because they have the battlesuit keyword and they do get that benefit. Cold Star, he's going to be your fusion blaster with Starfire ignition system that lets you uppy downy your Sunforge teams because he has 3 fusion blasters, so there's going to be a Sunforge team. You have a Cold Star with internal grenade racks. He's going to be flying over things in a Starsight team so that you're going to be getting constant mortal wounds plus I think that's 9 flame shots and a cyclic. You're gonna have, outside of the fusion blaster guys, every commander's basically gonna have a cyclic because cyclic iron blasters are just so good. 3 is basically a super a super plasma gun from like any other faction you can just put on anything, so it's just useful. A little bit of a move away from the standard Ret Cadre, which is just all battle suits, nothing else. You're getting some Kroot. So the Kroot Lone Spear, you have he's going to be giving enhancements. He can't have any enhancements. He's just a cheap little guy that has the Lone Op aura, so he can kind of just sit in the backfield helping your Kroot out or go forward with your units and you're trying to do a forward melee screen that's going to get cleaned up, but it gives you just that extra turn of shooting from your crisis teams. So obviously he's your Star Scythes, he's your Sunforge, another Sunforge. Is that just a lone Sunforge team? Oh, you know what he put? No, he's only got 1 Starsight team. Yep, so it's going to be one of the crisis teams is a Cold Star. Cold Star. I feel if it's 2000 on the nose, yeah. So he just had 5 extra points. So yeah. So you got the double Sunforge. They're going to be the main damage. One of them is going to drop in for 2 command points every turn to just drop in outside of Melta, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, they drop in, they nuke something, and then with a star flare you pick them up, and with Farsight you just drop them in and hope they live. They do have that 4-up invuln, so they are surprisingly tanky in regards to that. They are strength 5. I mean, so toughness 5, 2-up, 4-up. So it is technically hard to remove them, but with the sheer amount of shots and melee damage that a lot of lists can put out, it's easy to chip them down, especially with like you looking at the new Victrix guard with like all of them coming in. They are going to mulch crisis teams for breakfast. You got the forward deploy and even backfield holding, because like one of the main problems with I found with Ret Cadre in my playtesting is that if you take all crisis teams, you're going to struggle to hold your backfield objectives because you have to be fast and loose, and you just have nothing in the back other than Riptides to hold. So you need something to help bubble wrap those Riptides, because they're the like, although you have all these crisis suits, they're the main damage in my opinion of these Ret Cadre lists, and you need something to bubble wrap them. And these carnivores and Crute Hounds, they're just there to be nuisances. Which in a Ret Cadre list, I don't know why you take 120 points of Crute Hounds, because that's literally like an extra star side team. But I understand it. You can definitely take these Crute Hounds, have them loop forward, and just if you're trying to do like an early melee rush to just kind of lock them down in their deployment zone, and then have your crisis suits get into position for like turns 2 and 3 in your Ret Cadre list, I can see it, but I have to see how it plays. But I don't agree with the hunter. Like I can kind of agree with the Crute Carnivores, maybe because he's only got one Pathfinder squad, right? I like you could get rid of these 3 Crute Hounds and get a Pathfinder team, and I feel like that'd be a little better. But Crute Hounds are much faster than Pathfinders. It's just Pathfinders, they have that extra stuff, especially because I believe this guy has, where is it? He has the recon drone, so he gets to forward deploy, infiltrate, and then scout back. So obviously triple Riptide with twin smart missile systems. The buff to Riptides giving them strength 11 shooting is huge, because if you can get them into the retaliation cadre attachment of the +1 strength, being in range of that, strength 12 shooting from a Riptide is huge, especially with that many shots and at 4 damage and like AP a billion. So obviously the twin smart missile systems, just extra horde clear. You need it, especially if you have like Richard Siegler's list with his Sicarians, his Ruststalkers and stuff. These twin smart missile systems ignoring cover with ignoring their minuses to hit is just going to melt through them. But unfortunately, he didn't hit it. And then this is the big problem here. This is going to be, instead of 240 points, it's a 70-point increase. So this list is dead, obviously, because of the Stealthsuit nerf and some Vespid. So like the Stealthsuit nerf, it just killed this list, because you can't go up 70 points and just keep this list. He's what I found in my testing from play, like the theory crafting and stuff like that. You're going to see a lot more Shadow Sun, because she's reliably giving you those reroll ones. You're probably not going to take as many stealth suits. You might take 1 unit, and then if you're not taking Shadow Sun, you might take 2, because it's 10 points more and you get 2 of them. It's just hard to justify, because like obviously the stealth suits are going to last significantly longer, because you have those 2 extra wounds, you get the 4 extra wounds, so you can kind of just take it on the chin. But it's just such a brutal change to do that. Like the fact that you can't keep them 3 man, it sucks. But yeah, I guess you get slightly better shooting from the unit, and for a 30-point increase, and you lose the shield drone, which is so important. And you lose the battle, you don't even realize the shield drone until you have a 3-rune Shazray, and they're taking a lot more damage than they should. But like, obviously you don't even want to kill the Shazray, because he's the one with the marker drone, and it's just there. Like it's unfortunate, because it is just a hard nerf to stealth suits, in my opinion, because the whole point of stealth suits is that they're just there to spot for you, and this just sucks. Obviously the Vespid Stinglings are there; they're just there to uppy downy. Do random objectives, drop them in the backfield. Their shooting can pick up some light infantry, and then even scratch the paint off of like intercessors and cover and stuff like that. But yeah, congratulations to the Gemini. Don't know how to say that. I'm pretty sure that looks like Daniel to me, but it can also be Danielle. So I don't know, or Danielle. I don't know how to say that, unfortunately. But congratulations, man. or woman, you did pretty good. 81st is a really good achievement, to be honest, out of 400, especially in like, this is a goal. This is, you had to be invited to go here. So it was, these are some of the best players in the world. It's not a, just you can apply. So congratulations. Next we are going to go to Tony Barrett. I forget what their placing was. Let's see. I believe they were in the 50s, or were they further up? Let's see. Let's keep looking. Oh, I think they're in the top 64. So we'll see. Boop. Yep, 60th. It looks like, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5 and 3. That's a pretty good, especially in the best players in the world. So Tony Barrett. This is going to be a Montcall list. What I've been seeing is that it's either Kroot Hunting Pack, Montcall, Kalyan with some like sprinkling of Red Cadre, obviously Auxiliary Cadre, and Experimental Weapons Cadre. They're just not that good comparatively to the other ones. I think Red Cadre's, if you're really good with your crisis suits, and I think Montcall is probably the best one. Kalyan is pretty good, but with the changes to with the changes to stealth suits, I don't see. I think we're like a 50-50, like we're almost like a perfect 50 in the weekly win rate. I think the stealth suit change is going to be massive to the win rate, and I think we're probably going to drop down to like 57, 47, 48, maybe even going those back down to 46 for like pre-balanced data slate. Obviously Montcall, we're looking at this here. You have Shadow Sun, Ethereal, so he really wants to make sure he gets his he really wants to make sure he's getting his command point every turn, which is important, because Montcall, you have that -1 to damage, which is pretty good, but it's 2 command points, so like you want to be using that a lot. If you have big units like a Riptide or something, it's like, oh, I'm going to shoot my 2 damage plasma into you, that's going to wound your Riptide with +1 to wound and all that. But like, oh yeah, -1 damage. So like, even I'll just drop 2 command points, and then you buff up with that entire 500 point plasma unit or something, and you're not going to be able. You only be doing 1 shot. So even if I fail all my invulns, I'd still only take like 6 damage instead of 12. So there's always that. And you have Strategic Conqueror, so they're going to be on that. Ethereal is going to be pointing out into the midfield objective, and you're going to get that +1 objective control, which is kind of huge. Tau really do struggle on wrestling objectives from your opponent, and this is probably the only way that you can consistently steal it back, because like, especially like, there's kind of like a tech piece with Strategic Conqueror, where as long as the Ethereal's on the board, Kroot Hounds now have objective control 1, which is kind of huge, because you can kind of put it on a side objective that you can clear and then launch the Kroot Hounds. You're just sacrificing some Kroot Hounds to take control of the objective. So there's always that. Firesight team, since their points reduction, they've actually been really good. I think Firesight teams are probably going to be better than they're better than stealth suits now, because you can take 2 Firesight teams for like the points cost of a stealth team. It's like, yeah, you don't get the rerolls, but you're getting the ignores cover, and you're getting the +1 to hit, and then you just take Shadow Sun, right, to like create, because most of our good units either have inherent rerolls, or they just don't care, or they already have such high damage, to hit, they just don't care about the reroll ones. Mainly the reroll ones to wound are really important, but it's gonna hurt that stealth suit change, because they were just so important to getting rerolls out. Now they're just gone. But yeah, Firesight team, Strike Swiftly is good on him. He's a good caddy for it, because you can forward deploy him, and then you can have like some fun. He's most likely pushing these Devilfish. Look, there's most likely Pathfinders here. Yeah, I don't even know what this Ethereal is, just kind of sitting out in the backfield trying to hide, hope he doesn't get hit. He can work as a marker as well now, because he has for the greater good. But yeah, Strike Swiftly, Firesight teams, you're not really like, yeah, you get the long shot pulse rifles. They're not doing anything really. They might pick off like 1 or 2 like toughness 3 units a turn. Like might be able to pick off like a model or 2 off of those guys. They're just kind of there to give that guiding, and they're there to just get hit. Like they're you can do a nice forward deploy screen, You know, that bubble and nope zone for the fireside team's also pretty good because you can't deep strike within 9 around him. So yeah, he does give up some assassination points, but I think he's got good enough reason to just kind of keep going. You got the double devilfish. They're just there to most likely throw some pathfinders in. You got a big unit of 2 broadsides, right? It looks like it. Yep, 2 broadsides. That's 170 points now. They're they're 85 points. Are broadsides 85 points? I think they are. My God, I like, because it used to be 90, and yeah, they dropped down 5 points. Yeah, I always forget because I rarely take them, but they're so good, especially in Montka. A 2-man broadside team is pretty useful, especially in Montka, because you get that AP bonus from coordinated engagement where you just kind of target down. I think it's coordinate engage or coordinate to engage. I forget the actual name of the stratagem. It's the one where you take 2 units and you just focus fire everything into it. High yield missile pod, twin smart missile system with weapon support system, so they ignore the modifiers to hit. So you ignore modifiers, ignore cover, high extra AP. They kind of just melt whatever they shoot at. If with rerolling ones to wound here is actually really useful for the broadsides. It's just a very unfortunate it's going up in cost. You have the ghost keel, fall back and shoot. Just forward deploy guys that just sit in the middle of the board with lethals, and they just are hard to kill. It struggles to kill ghost keels. I think the ghost keels and riptides are kind of like our biggest durability sinks that we can get, because it's really hard to kill a ghost keel because of the stealth, and then you have that lone op aura as well. Well, and they also blank stuff, so it's really hard to crush them. So like I was saying, you take the Crute Hounds. Oh gosh, that is a very cool unit of Rampage. This is a fun list. I'm looking at it. Carnivores, you got your backline and forward deploy, so you can kind of keep them on backfield objectives while also chilling and screening. Crute Hounds, you kind of just position them behind a ruin, and then you block there. You can do some forward screening, or you can use them to steal some objectives with strategic conqueror. So if you put it like you clear them, you shoot them off the board, the unit off the board, the broadsides, and you just run up the Crute Hounds, and now you have a 40-point unit controlling an objective that they have to clear. Rampagers are something I never see in Montka, and they're just good. Like, they're really good on their own, but like normally you'd want them to have the durability increase from Crute Hunting back, but they also have just an amazing amount of damage. For like 170 points, you get this really big beefy unit that can run up the board and basically charge into anything in the game and actually manage to kill them. Like, I think you could throw them into a 10-man Terminator brick and kill like 6 of them without any buffs, just on the charge. If you do grenades, I think you can pick up like 7. So like 170 points trading upwards like 300 points is amazing. There you could obviously bounce if they pop Arbor of Contempt and stuff and -1 to wound, but this is good. Like, I think Krutox Rampagers are going to be our response to like the Victrix bricks, where you just kind of roll up and just, well, we just got to smack you as hard as I can, you know. But we will see how this plays out with the new Ultramarines coming out. Krutox Rider, 60 points. They are just super duper good to fight it out. They are just, I think Krutox Riders are like, they're a really fun unit, and their Krutox Fists, I think, are strength 2 damage, like strength 6, AP 1. So they're decent melee combats. I think they get 3 or 4 attacks each. I'm pretty sure, might be 2. But yeah, the repeater cannon is the main thing. Is that like if you try to shoot any of the crew, they just get a free shot once a turn, which is pretty fun. It's just good enough that I like 60 points to 60 points. Like, they're not that quick compared to the Crute Hounds, but they do quite a bit more damage. I think they have more utility, and they also have objective control, and they're durable. So it's just one of those things where this little brick right here is really fun brick to fight with. Especially in like a Montka is like the weird thing for me. It's like having this big of a crew contingent. I've been noticing like the last two lists had big crew contingents and list types that normally don't, and I'm actually like seeing it, but I wonder how it plays, because like obviously like the Krutox Rampage and the Krutox Riders, they basically stay glued to each other so they can support. Like, if you shoot the Krutox Rampage or the Krutox Rider shoots you, you try to charge the Krutox Riders, the Rampagers get a chance to charge into you from there. and get all their benefits, but they don't get all the benefits they get from Crew Hunting Pack, where you can kind of just pop a command point, fall back and charge, and redo your devastating charge or what Hammer of Wrath ability. You have your three Pathfinders. These guys are very, very important. I believe two of them are Grav Inhibitor, yep, and then one is Recon. So the two Grav Inhibitors are going to be going in your Devilfish, so they can scout move forward, and then the Recon drones are going to be your Infiltrate, and they're going to infiltrate up the board. I believe with the Fireside team would be popping up the board to get those early on, because you especially in Monk with lethal hits, these triple ion rifles are actually pretty brutal, because you can get roll a 6 and you just automatically wound for AP3 2 damage. I think it's AP2 2 damage on the overcharge. You can also forward deploy, get a line of sight on something, have them do the stratagem that lets you get that extra AP for your broadsides while guiding them. And then these guys could target their thing that ignores cover, so they're getting that benefit as well, plus that extra AP, so they actually do decent bit of damage here. Let's keep scrolling. And then you got double Riptide. Riptides are, again, our highest damaging unit because of the ion accelerator change. Getting that toughness, strength 11, not toughness. Strength 11 shooting is very important, because that is the maximum toughness in the game basically right now for knights. And there's very few things that go to toughness 12 that is taken regularly outside of knight players. And you see them mainly like Leman Russes, Land Raiders, and stuff like that. And you rarely see those in the game right now. I think Repulsor Executioners and Black Templars are toughness 12, if I remember correctly. So they're kind of rolling around. But for the vast majority of lists, I do not see T12, so T11 tends to be the max, and that means you're wounding them on 4s, and you get that lethal hit, and the ion accelerator just kind of dumpsters with the missile drones as well, because they're strength 7 AP2 shooting 2 damage, but they are ballistic skill 5, so you are hitting them on 4s though. And then you got uppy downy for some Vespids. You have a lot of utility in this list through your crew, the Vespid, and the Pathfinders. And obviously double Ghost Keel, double Riptide is almost impossible to kill, because like you rarely kill it. In most Tau games that I've seen, unless you're playing fast and loose, you rarely lose a Riptide. And then Ghost Keels I can see, but they are extremely hard to kill. I think you probably lose everything except for the Ghost Keels and Riptides by like turn 4. And then all you have less are those four big monster boys vehicles. And they're just really hard to kill. I like the list. Again, this is kind of like a wonky list where it's like strike swiftly, you throw up the Devilfish, or the Devilfish already have scout, so you'd be scouting something else. You might be able to get you infiltrate together with the Ghost Keels and then scout move them onto objectives or something to scout them back or something like that. That'd be kind of interesting. Or you scout the Riptides. You'd probably scout the Riptides, to be honest, because I think everything in this list has scout or infiltrate, now that I think about it, outside of the ethereal. So that is a very, like, you have your entire army in the midfield except for the broadsides and the ethereal, and everything else is in the mid board. I see why you take the rampagers now that I'm looking at it, because you just push everything up on the board turn 1, and then if you get turn 1 you lose. If you don't get first turn, if you don't go first you lose, but if you go second, if you go first you're feeling good. If you go second you have some bubble wrapping. But yeah, if you turn 1, you just fly to the light brigade and just charge the light brigade and just go in as hard as you can and just try to crush them and just give them a bloody nose, take their send the recruit forward, bubble wrap them into their, force them in their deployment zone, kind of screen them in there. They have to kill the crew, and then they're out in the open because they killed all the crew, and then you just gun them down with broadsides and riptides. But yeah, it's a very fun list. Again, like I'm saying, no stealth team. So this gentleman probably realized, hey, there's a new stealth team kit. It's got 5 models in it. It's going to be bad. But yeah, so like I was saying, Riptides and Pathfinders, basically part of the Trinity. Now that the stealth suits are gone, like the 2 most important units in the Tau Codex are Riptides and Pathfinders. Yeah, same with the last list. You got Riptides, Pathfinders, and stealth suits. So it's like they're going to be in every single list. But yeah, let's move on. We are going to move on to the next place. I believe they were a little higher up. Is the last list? Let's see. which one were you at? Jordan Knock. Where were you at? Are you a little lower? Because I think did I miss him? Here we go. 52nd Tundra Tactics, Jordan Knock. Again, the 5 and 8, 5 and 3, excuse me. This one's the same thing. This is more of a more aggressive list for Montka. Double Cadre Fireblade, no enhancement. So he's just going full everything else. Got the double breacher, you got the devilfish, no scout move. So they're not scouting forward. So they're just gonna be maximum damage you can do. Like these guys in Montka, like turn 2, when they drop out with like their full rerolls to wound on objectives, they will pretty much shoot anything off the board. And then you just dump your smart missiles into them as well. They do not have, they have double gun drone, no marker lights on this. So they are not ignoring cover, but they have such high AP already. So it's like, okay, do you need to ignore cover or anything like that? Crisis Fire Knives, they are faster broadsides with innate rerolls to wound. So I like them, but the missile pod variants I don't like as much as the plasma rifles, which is saying something because I don't like the plasma rifle variant. But the missile pods, they're good. Full rerolls to hit is decent. I think it's not full rerolls to hit. They have some things. I forget what it is. It's either rerolls ones or rerolls some things. They have rerolls innate built into their suit. I think they ignore modifiers as well. I could be wrong on that one. Double hammerhead. They have the double one hammerhead with a railgun with an ion cannon. The railgun's really good. Obviously, you just punch a hole through a heavy vehicle. Ion cannon's good for taking out the smaller, Terminator equivalents that we've been seeing. And it gives you the volume of fire that the railgun generally doesn't have. So you don't just, if you go up against a horde army, your railgun hammerhead's not worthless. The second hammerhead isn't worthless. So you just have 2 shots you only have 1 shot that's worthless all game instead of 2. They are cheaper. The ion cannons are significantly cheaper than the riptides, but they aren't as durable. So there's always that to be had. And you get 2 seeker missiles instead of no seeker missiles. So it's like hammerheads do more anti-tank damage, but the riptides are just generalized better. Crew Carnivore, they're just there to forward deploy. You only have 1 Pathfinder so that they can make room for a Piranha unit. I like Piranhas. I think they're fun. I think they're really good units. I just love more Pathfinders. Like three units of Pathfinders tend to be in every one of my lists, especially now with the nerf to the stealth teams, because like this list has gone up 70 points because they took 3 stealth teams. So you get double Skyride. So he's got the vehicle park with a double Skyride, double Hammerhead, and double Riptide with no Shadow Sun. I think Shadow Sun is gonna be you're gonna drop one of these you're gonna probably drop 1 stealth team, swap them out for Shadow Sun, and we're gonna go back to like 8th edition vehicle parks where you just have a vehicle castle in the back with Shadow Sun in the center, giving full reroll ones to hit to all these guys, because obviously the Hammerhead doesn't care about rerolls because the railgun has full rerolls to hit and wound. And the Sky Rays, you just get, if you get reroll 1 through Shadow Sun, the Sky Ray has twin linked on the seeker missile rack, if I remember correctly. So they don't they already have rerolls ones. They already have full reroll to wound. It's just mainly the Riptide that's losing some. The Riptides are losing some of their rerolls for the reroll 1 to wound. So I think what's just going to happen is for Tau is that we lose rerolls to wound unless it has it twin linked innately, which is going to suck because like I cannot justify stealth teams anymore at 110 points. I just can't. I think Shadow Sun's better, and then if I need, because it used to be okay, stealth teams are just better than Shadow Sun. Now that Split Fire got changed, but now that they're 110 points, I just do not see stealth teams being as good anymore. I struggle to justify even one on the list now, but we'll see what's going to happen later. Let's move on. This is 32nd place from Durante Glenasier Bazzini. Congratulations, getting 32nd at one of the most cutthroat, one of the most cutthroat tournaments in the year, obviously. So we got a Contra Fireblade. They are going to be in the Breacher team right here, and then Shadow Sun. Shadow Sun, again, I didn't like her prior to the change to stealth teams. I think that she was a little overcosted for what she did. Now that stealth teams are 110 points, she's the best form of rerolls in the codex now. Command link, that's the 5-up every time you use a stratagem. Every time you get a chance to, on a 5-up, to get 1 command point back. Advanced Guardian Drone, she's -1 to wound, so she's kind of durable. I think she's a 5-up invuln, maybe a 4-up. If they manage, she has lone op. If they manage to shoot Shadow Sun and kill her in shooting, you're kind of boned anyways. Like she's got pit, like the double fusion blaster is good, but everything else is like, okay, I don't really care. Then she can guide in combat. One thing I don't know the exact ruling on is like pistols. I don't know how for the greater good interacts with pistol keyword. From my reading of it, you should be forced to only guide the thing you're in combat with, but I think you can guide out of it because you only have to be eligible to shoot, not only the target you're shooting at has to be an eligible target. So there's always that. I think marker light, I think for the greater good works the way where you can just guide out of, if you're in combat, you can pick something else. But yeah, she is what it is. I don't know how that interaction works exactly, but I think the way where you can guide, or you're in combat, you can guide out of it. But thematically speaking, I don't think that's how that works. Like if I'm getting charged by a dude with a chainsword, I guess it kind of does, because like the guys with the marker lights, they will literally die to make sure that the marker light stays up. So like they can get punched in the face by a guy, but their head gets conked back, but they're completely locked in place with that marker light. So I think that's kind of more thematic. Obviously, the Devilfish with the Cadre Fireblade are jumping in. It's also Kalyan. So Shadow Sun gets a little bit extra goodies with the Wall of Mirrors, so she can kind of redeploy for a couple command points for a command point. So that's okay. Like being able to throw her down where you need her. It is unfortunate she doesn't have Deep Strike. If she had Deep Strike and Wall of Mirrors, I could put her the next turn Deep Striker where I need that reroll ones would be kind of neat. But being able to throw her up on the board next to something on the, so I said instead of being anywhere on the board, I can throw her on, keep her on the edges within, I think, 9 inches of the edges. So there's always that. Devilfish, obviously said breach your team. I don't believe, no marker light, so they're getting their ignores cover for something else, or I think, don't they naturally? No, they don't naturally ignore cover. Again, you got the carnivores and the Kroot riders. Carnivores are just good. The Kroot riders, they're just surprisingly durable little idiots. I think they're T7 and like 4 wounds or 5 wounds. They have like a 5-up save, so they're like, if you can get through their, like the most of their defense is from their toughness. And like you don't want to shoot a Krutox rider with anything. Like I don't want to kill a Krutox rider. Like I don't care about them. Like cool. They got like, I think they get 4 shots of strength 7 AP 1/2 damage, hitting on 4s. And I'm just kind of sitting there like, I don't care about that. Like I really don't. Like if I shoot a Kroot carnivore squad, he can shoot the repeater at me, and it's like, okay. But to be honest, though, like the things that are shooting Kroot carnivores are going to be like intercessors, so that autocannon shot could actually be it could be devastating to certain things, but it's like, I don't really care about Krutox riders and stuff like that. It's just one of those things, like I don't want to have to shoot them, but because that's just the kind of like, it's 60 points. Like the things that are required to kill a Krutox rider for 60 points is way more than 60 points. So it's like, if I can get them to shoot freaking their repulsor executioner to my Krutox riders instead of my Riptides, I'm living the dream. Double Pathfinder, again, recon drone. So they both have infiltrate, instead of the minus is the charge, which is okay. I don't hate on that. They get that, obviously. I think recon drone gives them a burst cannon shot as well, so that's pretty neat. But main thing is always, they do not have a gun drone. Now that I'm looking at it, one of them's got a gun drone. Oh no, they all have gun drones, because you need to have gun drones on your Pathfinder teams, because that's the only way they have assault, unless you're in Monka. But yeah, you need to have gun drones so they can advance and guide, and that's the whole point of the Pathfinder team, is that their priority is guiding. They also do a ton of damage. So If you have to, like, if you need to get into a weird position for a guiding, you need to have that the assault keyword. Otherwise, you won't be able to guide. Double piranha, Kalyan double piranha is neat because piranhas you can kind of just launch them forward, and again they have just enough. They have just enough like durability that to shoot like shoot a 60-point idiot sitting on an objective and get him off the objective without charging. Like if they like set it up right, you can't they towing you on the objective with the piranha. They launch their seeker missiles, and now it's like, okay, well, my piranha's just tough enough that you can't charge me with intercessors to take them out. You have to send something actually decent. Like, oh, you see that like 5-man death company squad with like thunder hammers. You have to charge them into the piranha to kill them. So it's like it's just strong enough that you have to shoot something that you don't want to shoot into them. So that's why I like these little, I guess I don't even know what to call them utility at this point. I think I'm gonna call them spoiler units, where you have to like basically spoil the enemies, your opponent's fun by shooting into them. Because like once I lose my seeker missiles, like you have to, like, you can't charge like a light vehicle into them because they might just hit you with the fusion blaster. And it's oh yeah, well there goes your sentinel. It's kind of like a sentinel, to be honest, where like they're just strong enough that you don't want to shoot it into them. Riptides, Kalyan Riptides are the strongest Riptides in the game, because of the sustain that they get in turn 3, and they all 3 of these Riptides are getting turn 3 every single time. It's almost impossible to kill a Riptide if they're being played right. Ghost Keel's always good in Kalyan because they can they get some free movement through Wall of Mirrors, which is good. And then if you Wall of Mirror it properly, you have a chance to get a command point back from Shadow Sun. So you Wall of Mirrors with and then you roll that 5 and you can get a free redeploy in your Ghost Keel. So that's always interesting. Hammerhead can shoot, full. They don't really care about stealth teams. So the stealth teams are really there for your Riptides. That's kind of like the nerf to stealth teams aren't like super important, because like a lot of the stuff we have the built-in rerolls, or you have Shadow Sun and they have built-in rerolls to wound. So it's like it's there, like the Hammerhead and Skyray is pretty neat. Obviously the Hammerhead does more single target, but the Skyray does more consistent. But you can always spike, and you get the double seeker missile, while the Skyray only gets the one. Was that supposed to be a Skyray? I think it's supposed to be a Skyray because you get one extra seeker missile for the hammer. I always forget. And then smart missiles, and then obviously Kalyan, you want the next thing is like everything's gonna have that can take smart missile systems are gonna take smart missile systems, because if they survive the turn 3, they ignore modifiers, right? And while they're guided, and that's kind of like the most important thing. And then now your smart missile systems went from, okay, I got some middling like direct fire missile shooting, to I'm able to shoot pretty much everything on the board no matter where they're at, as long as they're guided. I do not care about if there's like a Pathfinder squad towing them, and then they can get a marker light onto your backfield objective holder that didn't give you sticky objectives. I can literally get rid of your objective control on that, and you lose the objective because I shot you off of it, because your servitor squad, or like your guard squad that was hiding back there, that was relying on line of sight. I can just, my entire army can pick you off. Like, you cannot come out with your screen units. I'm just going to shoot you with smart missile systems. There's nothing you can do, because I think it's like 20 smart missile system shots, strength 5, AP 0, ignore modifier with sustains. So you can get a lot of damage out of them if they can survive. And pretty much everything except for the Devilfish is going to be able to survive if you're playing it right. I think the Skyray might get picked off, because the Skyrays tend to be more aggressive than the Hammerheads, because you don't really want to present your Hammerhead until you're able to kill something, and then that 145 is trying to punch up as high as it can. And it normally does, because like that railgun and double seeker missile can pretty much kill anything in the game in one round of shooting, as long as they don't spike on their invulns. And then obviously double stealth team. Unfortunately, that is a 60-point increase now, right? Yeah, 160. Yep, 60-point increase. It is a massive points increase. Like, holy crap, dude. it's the stealth team nerf is just so massive, and it's like, because like realistically this list doesn't need them. It doesn't need them, because a lot of the stuff either has full rerolls, or The reroll ones to wound are nice. Like it's a massive points. Like it especially for like the triple riptide. The reroll ones to wound helps out a lot for dev wounds, so you can fish for better dev wounds. They obviously vest with uppy downy, but like it's just it hurts, man. Because like one, they're weaker, obviously, right? Because you take a shield drone and a marker drone every single time, and now they're just weaker. Um, which sucks because they're less durable now, objectively speaking. They have less utility because they can't, because like they have fly, so you could fall back and move forward, and you'd be able to fall back through the guys, so you don't have the desperate breakout. And they have like I think a 7 or 8 inch move, so they'd almost always be able to escape, and then you'd be able to fall back out of combat forward, steal an objective or something, and then still be able to guide. Now you're stuck in combat, which is massive. So there's a lot of like utility plays and movement shenanigans you can't do with stealth teams anymore that realistically you couldn't do consistently. But it was just that option there. Like if you didn't kill my stealth team, like you say you charged like a 20-man brick of guard into my stealth team to try to shut them down, and you bubble wrap me, but you don't bubble wrap me enough that I'm able to literally fly out of combat and then take and you left your home field objective open. I'm able to like run forward, grab it, and I'm in Montca, so I can auto 6 or something, like something stupid, like this Hail Mary play that works out just because. And then I'm still able to guide. I'm still able to throw a guide on a Lehman Russ or something. So it's just those standard plays that we just don't have right now, which kind of suck. But yeah, like a 60-point increase, you'd have to drop a piranha. You literally drop one of these piranhas to make this list work. And this is a top 32 at probably the highest of play, and it just went up 60 points, and it's just there, because you have to keep them. You have to keep two stealth suits. Like every single list that's like a standard Tau list just went up 60 points, which sucks. So you're dropping like a Krutox rider, or you're dropping a piranha from this list, and the same with everything else. Like you're never keeping you are never having 3 stealth teams again. They're just too expensive. Like it was kind of like a triple stealth team could kind of work in specialized list with like Ret Cadre and stuff, where they have some like actual benefits. You would never taking triple stealth team again. You're taking 2 maximum, or you're taking 1 in Shadow Sun to try to save points. But I just can't see it anymore, man. It's just way too expensive for how little you get, especially now when I can just like I'm already taking 2 to 3 Pathfinders every single list, because they're basically Kasrkin that have Scout, and I can throw them into I think Kasrkin actually have Scout. They're just Kasrkin squads, with infiltrate, or that can give me ignores cover. So it's like I can point at something and they ignore cover for my entire army. So like having 2 to 3 of those Kasrkin squads that I can just kind of delete something with is really nice. And with the nerf to stealth teams, I think you're going to see a lot more Firesight Marksman, because you're trying to make up for the loss. Like 2 Firesight Marksman is, again, like only a few more points more than a stealth team, and it's like, okay, what do I do here? Would I rather have 2 spots, or would I rather have reroll ones to wound? Because you can get reroll. Most of our stuff have built-in rerolls, or have some sort of built-in reroll, or they're not necessarily are massive damage dealers other than the Riptides. So it's just a massive nerf to the Riptide, basically, because that's the only way we're doing a lot of damage. It just sucks. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. I think the Tau, because of this change to stealth teams, I think we're going to drop down a little bit because our armies got smaller, which is I don't necessarily hate it. Oh, they are 8-inch moves. So yeah, they can kind of just walk out of anything if you charge them. They don't die. Still can't really do it because you can't. I think there's there's a stratagem in Cao Yun that lets you fall back and shoot still. So it's like baited retreat or something. But yeah, we have some ways to go around it, but now you have to drop a command point instead of just having it innately. So there's quite a bit. The new units look cool. I think we're gonna go down a little bit, especially while Eldar, Admik, and all of them are still kind of taking the board and kind of winning everything. Because I think when I saw Eldar didn't get touched at all, I could kind of foresee that they're going to be the top 3 armies in the game. But I think with the stealth suit nerf, the Tau are going to struggle. a little bit. I think right now, like the average was like a 50. And I think like the last weekend for the World Championship, because obviously like, the biggest tournament is going to take a lot of it. So we had like 2 tournament wins, but they're like small GTs. So it's like at the highest level of play, we're like a 46%. So it's like, okay, so that kind of shows that the best players in the world can comfortably defeat Tau players. Like a 5-3 record, I think is like a, what is that? It's over. I guess that's a 60% win rate, right? Because you get 5 out of 8. It's better than a 50, so it's a roughly a 60% win rate. But in the grand scheme of things, that's probably closer to like a 46. So yeah, we're looking at that. I think most we're definitely going to be like a 3-2 army going out from now on, which is okay. I think with with the ability to punch up, you still got to be good at the game, have some general understanding, but yeah, I think Tower gonna be going back down from being like a middle to high tier to going back down to just middle tier. That can kind of go up high, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day.